Good evening, everyone. Alright, so, to recap. Once upon a time, Phoenix Wright jumped off a bridge because he thought Maya might be in danger. No, he fell off a bridge because he thought Maya might be in danger. And then he took he got some kind of very nasty injury. Now he's in the hospital, and since then we've been playing from Edgeworth's point of view, because Larry called him in a panic, and Edgeworth was like, holy shit, I'm dropping everything to charter a jet for me and myself alone, just so I can fly back to Japanifornia, because my not-boyfriend his life is in danger. And now Edgeworth finds himself, looks like he's having to play the role of defense attorney and hope no one finds out that he's actually a prosecutor. So, let's get started. But first, let me switch my screen over. There we are. Okay. If anyone new comes in, I will give that same recap over again. Alright, yeah, so now we're at the first portion of the trial. And Edgeworth is behind the defense's bench and claims that he called in a favor to get a prosecutor of his choosing, but, who exactly might that be? Alright, February 9th.
Oh my! Mr. Larice feels that way about me?
Apparently, he isn't aware of your real secret at all. This is no time to be embarrassed!
I'm sorry. I'm just hardly accustomed to that sort of thing.
Worry not. And in any case, whatever it was that he saw on the night of the incident, mark my words, I will drag it out of him.
Does that mean Mr. Larice is the witness today?
No. I believe that none will be the first to take the stand.
Sister Bikini.
She claims to have seen the very instant in which you carried out the crime. I just want to ask you one last time. It really wasn't you who killed Miss Elise Donim, correct?
That is correct. It wasn't me.
Very well, then.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes?
You are a prosecutor, aren't you? Are you sure about this? If your true identity is revealed...
Don't worry. I've made the necessary arrangements.
I see.
Iris, it is a prosecutor's job to doubt people. But right now, I am a defense attorney. A defense attorney's job is to believe in people, and to believe until the bitter end. That's what my friend told me once.
Mr. Edgeworth!
I simply ask that you watch and decide for yourself whether or not I am fit to do the task I have been entrusted.
Very well, sir. I leave my defense in your capable hands.
I know. Oh man, the prosecution isn't present yet. And oh, thank God, we have the Canadian judge instead, who wouldn't recognize Edgeworth. Court is now in session for the trial of Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Oh man, it's so weird seeing his sprite mirrored like that. The defense does indeed appear to be ready. However, the same cannot be said for the prosecution in this case. Indeed. I'm not sure I like such a blatant waste of this court's time. An empty prosecutor's chair can only mean that the prosecutor has no confidence in their ability to prove their case. It would seem this case is already over before it had a chance to begin. I am ready to announce my verdict at this time. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Wow. You really went for the dramatic entrance there, Franny.
Is the prosecution stands ready.
And you are?
Franziska von Karma, prosecuting prodigy.
Von Karma, you say? Perchance you wouldn't be of any relation to the legendary prosecutor Manfred von Karma?
Legends are a thing of the past. I am a von Karma. That is all. Upon a special request, I flew in today for the purposes of prosecuting this case.
You did? Then you must be quite a big shot, eh? By the way, Mr. Edgeworth... Yes, Your Honor? I'm almost certain that I've seen you somewhere before. Or am I just imagining things? You look very much like a prosecutor I met once. I believe you are imagining things, Your Honor. Ms. von Karma, do you have anything to say? So, how do you think this happened? Like, so obviously he called Franziska in to be prosecutor because she was the only one he could trust to not blow his secret that he's not actually a defense attorney. So you think he called her up and he was like, Franziska, I desperately need to ask a favor of you. My not-boyfriend fell off a bridge, and I need you to come commit fraud with me in a court of law. And she was just, like, silent for a moment on the phone, like, she's like taking a he calls her while she's in a bubble bath. And so she has, like her old-fashioned, like, fancy, like, corded phone that's all, like, I'm trying to think of, like, a specific kind of, like, I don't like Cruella DeVille's phone in the animated 101 Dalmatians, like something like that. That's really old-fashioned and fancy. And she's like just on the phone in the bathtub, like silently weighing her options. And she's like, "Okay, fine, but you're going to have to buy me another pony," or something along those lines. Like she absolutely. Even if these adopted siblings, like, they absolutely do care for each other, she would not do this for free, is what I'm saying. Or she'd be like, "Mein Gott, Miles, when are you going to tell this poor defense attorney that you love him?" There is no such weakling as this man among those of the prosecutor's office. Yeah, so basically she's like, I have never seen this ugly man in my life. There isn't, but I'm sure once before. I told you, there is no such weakling. Well, what is that? A whip? I'm not sure I care for such a thing in my courtroom. Bailiff, remove that whip and... Hold it! I have no objection to the whip. You don't? The prosecution can wield a whip or drink 17 cups of coffee, but there is still only one truth. That is what I stand here to prove today. They're literally just here to slap fight each other. This promises to be interesting, Miles Edgeworth. I had expected to face Phoenix right here today, but looking at you now, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time. Miles Edgeworth, I will not allow this chance to crush you to slip through my fingers. I see you brought your flair for the histrionic. Literally. I wish Miles had used a stupid fake name. Oh yes, this is, on Kilometers Edgeworth. Niles Wedgeworth. Niles Crane, even. Allow me to add to the things I'm not sure about. People acting bizarrely in my court. The stage is set. Now continue with the proceedings, Your Honor. Very well.
Ms. Von Karma, please give an outline of this case. With as little whipping as possible. The murder victim is the famed picture book author, Miss Elise Denim. Her body was found in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. She had been stabbed through the torso by a ceremonial sword from a golden statue. The sword in this picture is the weapon in question, correct? Very well, the court accepts this photo of the crime scene. There is no mistake. This was the doing of Sister Iris. After all, there is a witness to her crime. Very well, please bring this witness to the stand. Oh, I remember what happens here. Get ready, everybody. And so it begins. The ultimate blogging begins. My first and last trial as a defense attorney. Witness, state your name and occupation, please. Oh, hold on here. I'm not sure about being... Not sure if I care for this at all. Witness, please stand up nice and straight. If I recall correctly, there are a few milk crates in the defendant's lobby for our back pain-plagued witness. Bailiff, fetch a crate for this poor lady, please. We gotta put her on a scully box. Once again, your name and occupation, please. Little old me. Well, I'm the head nun of Hazakura Temple on Eagle Mountain. My name is Bikini. You got it? Bikini. Nice to meet everyone. 5-4 and under, King, rise up. Rise up so we... rise up, we can't see you. I'm just narrowly outside of that range by virtue of being 5'5". Wahoo! But you don't appear to be wearing a bikini right now. The courtroom is the garden of holy judgment. Those with lechery in their hearts should leave the sanctuary at once. My god, Queen, go off. I wish you would whip every other man in this game. Yeah, you want me to leave? No need to get your bikinis in a twist. Let me tell you, I'm a sight to behold in summer. In any case, witness, I hear that you saw the crime take place on the night in question. That's right! I can still hardly believe it myself, to be honest. There's no way dear little Iris could do anything like that. Let us hear what you have to say, then. First, tell us about your own movements that night, eh? And every now and then they remember to emphasize that he's Canadian, but not often. That night, I was helping an acolyte with her training in the inner temple, but... well, as you can see, my back likes to act up. Violently. So, I left Iris to help the acolyte and returned to Hazakura Temple. There's no bath at the inner temple, you see. I needed a long, hot soak. It was after I had finished, just as I was heading back, that's when I saw it! So it was simply coincidence that you found yourself returning to Hazakura Temple? Yes, you could say that. If my back hadn't been in so much pain, I would have stayed at the inner temple. That sounds like a pretty important statement she just made. There is only one problem with this testimony that I can see. And you're not about to fall at the first hurdle now, are you, Miles Edgeworth? Mr. Edgeworth, please begin your cross-examination. Alright, so... let's press... right here. You left Iris to help. With what? What do you think? The Acolyte's training, of course. It was just past 10 p.m., so we were starting to enter into the training exercises proper.
Wasn't it your place to remain with the disciple?
Well, the job is simply to watch over the Acolytes so they don't pass away.
Just to confirm this point again that night, your job is to watch over the Acolyte, such as they don't pass away, but not over the rest of your guests, I see. You met Iris in the inner temple, correct?
Yes. She's a gentle, honest girl. She's never once failed to follow my directions.
She's never once not followed her directions, but we have Iris's testimony that she deliberately didn't do that last night. Witnesses have to undergo their own trials, I'm afraid. The defendant's fate rests on their powers of observation and memory, after all.
Well, don't worry. I'm more than up to the task. I'm a woman of faith, after all, the head honcho of Hazakura Temple.
In that case, Ms. Honcho, I'd like you to explain something for me. The discrepancy between your testimony and that of the defendant, Iris. She claims that after ringing the lights out bell, she went back and stayed in her room. Which means she did not go to the inner temple at all.
No, she said that. A defendant or a witness? Who's more likely to lie, do you suppose? The defendant is simply lying to cover her back side.
But that is completely illogical. The murder was committed in the courtyard of Hazakura Temple. Claiming that she went to the inner temple would make for a much better alibi.
But that is odd. Whatever the reason, I can't believe that she would lie.
She does indeed have honest eyes.
All people lie. That is my belief.
Why am I the only one being whipped in here? Anyway, neither the witness nor the defendant have any reason to lie, which means we must call your memory into question.
Dear. You're older than me, and yet you want to play that game, do you?
Well, that isn't exactly what I...
My memory is perfect. Crystal clear, especially in winter.
Then, I suppose it's too early to end this cross-examination, eh? Mr. Edgeworth, if you are going to question the memory of this witness, you will need to show me a more decisive piece of evidence. Understood, Your Honor. I was naive to think that alone would do the trick. Bikini has reverse seasonal depression. Then please add your comments about Iris to the testimony, and let us return to the cross-examination. Iris came to the inner temple. She was dressed exactly as she had been at dinner. Oh, but wait. I have Iris's hood that she took off and gave to Phoenix. Witness, let's get one thing straight. The defendant whom you claim to have met, she was wearing this demon-warding hood, correct?
Of course! That is a very important piece of clothing, I'll have you know. Wait a minute. Hold it right there. Why do you have that?
That's the question of the day now, isn't it, Ms. Von Karma? I'll have you know that this hood was given to someone as a gift that night, before the lights-out bell was rung.
What?
You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If the witness had seen the defendant as she claims, then the Iris she saw should have been missing this very hood.
Well,
It's not a bad feeling at all, exposing contradictions like this. Now I understand that happy look on Knight's face every time he does it.
witness your response. Sister, this hood. You have spare ones around the temple, don't you? Spares? Well, I do tend to make too many of them. I see. A stockpile. A surplus of hoods, eh? Each nun is only given one hood. This should be the only hood that I ever owned. And this is quite strange. What? If there was a surplus of hoods, then she could have worn one of those. There is no contradiction here.
I'm sorry to break this to you, Miss Von Karma, but you won't get away that easily. Man, even in his inner monologue, he's addressing his sister as Ms. Von Karma. Discrepancies such as this will sow seeds in any human heart. The seeds of doubt.
Witness? While I don't wish to call your testimony into doubt, you must give every detail with precision. I'm not sure I'm comfortable going along with this. Sister, you shall continue with your testimony. Tell us what you saw after finishing your bath, on your way back to the inner temple.
Those seeds of doubt are sprouting in the judge's heart. They just need a little more stimulation to bear fruit. I'm sure you know a lot about fruits, don't you, Miles? Contradictory stimulation.
I finished my bath around 11, and I thought I should return to the inner temple.
I think Edgeworth would make the donut analogy from Knives Out. Doesn't make a damn bit of sense. Compels me, though. I know that's not the donut analogy, it's just the first Knives Out quote I could think of off the top of my head.
And as I was walking back, I heard a noise from the courtyard. I took a look, and Iris was... Oh, Mr. Galeese! And with that sword of all things! Mr. Galeese was staying in the corner room, which faces out into the courtyard. The stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window.
You saw a truly terrible sight, didn't you? If I was in your place, then it would be much like Miss Von Karma whipping Mr. Edgeworth in two in court, and me seeing it all from this very chair. Something like that. This judge, his imagination is about as vivid and creative as Detective Gumshoe.
I would look as a fool if I commented on such foolishness. Anyway, this case is mine, Miles Edgeworth.
Calling everyone by their full name. Can't you do something about that habit of yours? Okay, finish my bath. Heard a noise. Stabbing. Stabbing I saw must have occurred after she was pushed out of her window. I think that goes against the autopsy report. Which is... wow. We have a lot of evidence already just for this early. Impressive logic. That's what I'd like to say anyway. I meant to actually, like, read the autopsy report aloud just to make this clear. Okay, yeah. Loss of blood from stabbing back. Body fell 10 feet after death.
Oh, please do! My brain is something else, especially in winter.
However, I think you were overlooking one thing, Miss Von Karma. Would you be so kind as to take another look at the autopsy report?
The autopsy report?
The victim did fall from a height of 10 feet. However, this fall was after she was killed.
That's right, it says after death right here.
The scene the witness claims to have seen is contradictory. If the defendant stabbed and killed the victim there in the courtyard, how did the victim then go on to take a 10-foot fall?
The victim was killed and then fell. If that is the case, then the victim must have been killed in her room. Don't you agree? That is the logical conclusion. Yes, that's right. The victim must have been stabbed by the defendant in her own room. And then she was thrown out of her window down into the courtyard below.
Were there any signs of a struggle in Ms. Dunham's room? She was stabbed with a sword. That would leave quite a blood stain, wouldn't you agree?
Well, Miss Von Karma, was there any blood? No traces of blood were found in the victim's room. Fuck you, Miles Edgeverse. Your whip has just caused traces of blood to be found on my glorious playoff beard. However, if there was no... I'm sure there's no need for me to go over this, as I'm sure your honor is well aware. A venom stab wound produces the most blood. When it produces the most blood, very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
Indeed. With the weapon still in place, it acts like a lid on the wound. Literally, they just went over this particular crux in a case in DGS2. So it's quite familiar to me.
That's true. With the weapon still in the body, there wouldn't be much bleeding. A perfectly reasonable line of thinking. We have come to a conclusion then. The victim was thrown out of the window with the sword still in place. This removes all of the contradictions. I must admit that this is a probable version of events.
I expect no less from Franziska von Karma. She locates and takes control of every vital point.
I know you're complimenting me in your head, Miles Edgeverse. It seems that we need a clearer testimony from the witness. Remove all supposition on your part and tell us only the facts, please. Witness, please, remain standing on the crate. Don't go selling me short now. The weight of winter snow has bent me out of shape. Especially my back and my mood. Sister, please, give us your testimony. I will give you a vigorous massage once we are finished here.
With the whip?
Oh boy. Alright. Won't say no to a pretty lady offering me a massage.
Alright, further details.
When I looked across at the scene, the sword was already in place.
Gay!
Thinking about it now, I didn't actually see her stab Mr. Galeese. I've never seen so much blood before. That's when I fainted. You can't blame me, can you? And when I awoke, Mr. Kami was stabbing Mr. Galeese through the back.
This all confirms Miss Von Karma's theory.
Von Karma's strive for nothing but perfection. Putting together such facts is nothing for me. You should know that, Miles Edgeverse.
Perfection is an impossibility, Franziska Von Karma. And I'm here to teach you just that. Big Brother's here to school ya. Okay, she said, I've never seen so much blood before.
Hold it!
So you're saying that you saw the victim's blood?
That's right. Some of it had splattered onto Iris, too. Then the defendant was arrested. She was meditating in her room, and her blood-flecked clothing was neatly folded in the corner.
What? Her clothes were blood-flecked as well? That seems quite conclusive to me. What should I do? Press this point further? Absolutely. Literally, the answer is always press further. Going back to your previous statement, you said that you saw little bleeding when the victim was stabbed. But now, you say you saw the victim bleeding?
I say that what I saw is what I saw.
What did you see?
Maybe I didn't see the poor woman get stabbed, but I saw the girl pull the sword out of her, plain as day.
Good evening, Atme Nation. Good evening, Dimitri. Pulling the sword out?
Well, it wasn't exactly pulling. It was more like it came out.
Witness, you will add this statement to your testimony.
Oh, was that important?
More important than you can imagine.
I saw the instant in which the blade plunged into the hilt was smoothly drawn out.
So, it was plunged into the hilt, but it only has blood about a third of the way up? Quarter of the way up, even? That's not a lot. If that sword was plunged into the hilt, that would have gone all the way through the poor woman and into the ground. Sister Bikini, you are a reliable witness. At least, I'd like to think so. But there are too many contradictions here.
What do you mean? You make it sound as though I'm a liar. But you're a handsome young man, so I'll forgive you. What contradictions are you talking about? Besides the fact that my little brother is handsome. I mean, oops, I have never seen this man before in my life. I certainly didn't grow up with him for 18 years.
In the scene that the witness claims to have seen, the weapon was thrust up to the hilt into the victim. Furthermore, the killer withdrew the weapon smoothly from the body. However, both of these are complete impossibilities. What do you mean? Please explain it.
Explain yourself!
To start with, do you think it would be possible to stab someone to the hilt with this? No matter how I look at the defendant, she doesn't appear strong enough for that.
Doesn't appear? What meaningless dribble?
I think you mean drivel.
I too may appear to be weak and frail, but I can crush men under my heel and make them weep, should I so choose.
Please so choose, Franny. Please so choose. The objection stands. I wept a little back there, I must admit. That isn't the only issue here. If the sword was truly stabbed into the body up to the hilt, well, just look at all the branches on it. It certainly wouldn't come out smoothly.
That's... Thank you for the compliment on my Francisca voice.
I like doing her voice a lot, and that tends to be why I improv more when she's around, just because I like making her say funny things. We also have the problem of the amount of bleeding. It's true that when a blade is left in a body, it acts as a plug of sorts. However, when the weapon is shaped like this, it's an entirely different story. The weapon would be too large for the blade to completely stop the bleeding.
That's nothing more than conjecture. In reality, the victim was stabbed with a Shichito. Even a weapon of this nature may still sometimes slide out smoothly, and may still sometimes stop the blood loss.
I'm not finished. There is still one more conclusive contradiction. You've still got more? God, Edgeworth is finding out. He's like, oh man, I love pointing out contradictions. I think I'm gonna go have my own adventures in 2 spin-off games after this. This one is simple. If this sword really was thrust in all the way to the hilt, why is there only blood on the tip of it?
Ah!
If this witness is telling the truth, then there should be blood along the entire length of the sword.
No! Bravo, Miles Edgeworth.
To be fair, he didn't really choose the adventures he went on in Investigations 1. He hardly chooses them in the second one either. The second one starts like a week, maybe 2, after the end of the first game, and then all of that takes place in less than a month. It really is Edgeworth's wacky weekend. But we'll get to him soon.
Raising this many contradictions from a single piece of evidence. All the other attorneys I know could maybe manage one, if that.
But what does this all mean? You have proven contradictions regarding the murder weapon, but... Crazy noisy Edgeworth Summer. Having come this far, there can only be one answer.
And that is?
The weapon used to kill the victim was not the Shichishito. What?
A foolishly foolish idea born from the foolish mind of a foolhardy foolish fool. Did you count how many times I said fool, Miles Edgeworth? I think it was 7. That's how much of a fool you are. You're a fool times 7.
Let's examine this again. What was it that made us think this sword was the murder weapon?
Well, it's because Mr. Garmy was holding it.
Exactly. However, if you reflect on this, that is the only basis we have to assume such a thing. The impression left by the scene was just too strong. That is what influenced us. He looks like Ibaraki redesigned Austin Powers. No, honestly, I can't remember who, but someone retweeted like Austin Powers fan art on my Twitter feed the other night. But when I was looking at it, like, it had cropped off his face, so I just saw like the jacket and the ascot, and I was like, oh hey, that's my boy Miles Edgeworth, and I opened it and it was Austin Powers. It's like, wow, talk about open for a surprise. Anyway, it influenced us to believe that the Shichishito was the murder weapon.
So maybe the Shichishito was not the murder weapon. Even if that is the case, it changes nothing, Miles Edgeworth. Maybe I should call you Miles Buttworth.
Trying to make a Will Powers Edgeworth joke and it's not happening. Oh, it's like if Edgeworth got his dream come true and he did like a Steven Universe fusion dance with the Steel Samurai himself, Will Powers, the resulting construct would be Austin Powers. Austin Powers Investigations. Miss Von Karma, that objection of yours is quite, shagalicious.
She saw the defendant stab the victim with a sword-like object.
Well, that's true. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? If that is so, I would like the prosecution to answer the obvious question it raises. The obvious question? Yes, namely, where did the real murder weapon disappear to? It goes without saying that the police searched the main hall and the surrounding area. Perhaps the prosecution can enlighten us as to if a sword-like object was found?
That's...
Answer the question, Ms. Von Karma.
No evidence of that kind was found.
Another mystery to throw onto the pile. A trial without a murder weapon is a tricky beast.
Excuse me, could I say something? I just remembered something, actually. What is it, sister? I was just thinking, it's possible that just maybe what actually happened was, it was just over there.
What exactly are you going on about here?
The murder weapon, I mean. Maybe. I think I might know where the sword was disposed of.
You what?
There's it. I think we need to hear testimony from you one more time, sister.
Impossible. What else? What else could this old woman have seen?
I saw the murder at around 11 p. Shit, you're not German. I mean, ooh, dearie me, my throat gets quite dry in the winter. I saw the murder at around 11 p.m., and after asking that it be reported, I went out to the main gate. And there, I saw tracks! Tracks that indicated the snowmobile had been used. It takes 15 minutes to walk to Dusky Bridge, but less than 5 using one of those. Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back while I was knocked out. Iris could have done that. She can drive a snowmobile after all.
Witness, please tell us everything you know right away next time.
Well, I'm not in the best of shape, what with my back and my age, you know. Quite. There were indeed snowmobile tracks in front of the main gate. Here's a photograph. Every time I look at it, it makes me laugh, because I think of how pathetic Miles Edgeworth is as a defense attorney.
A snowmobile, eh? I see. Well, it certainly is an interesting theory.
The tracks begin in front of Hazakura Temple, and run all the way to Dusky Bridge.
Alright, tracks photo. Thank you, Franny. I'm gonna present this at one of her statements now.
That solves your pesky little problem, yes. The Eagle River's current is quite swift, meaning that it doesn't freeze over in winter, making it the perfect place to dispose of the murder weapon.
Did she really go to the river to dispose of the murder weapon? Mr. Edgeworth, your cross-examination, please.
Okay.
Maybe they threw the weapon into Eagle River and came back. But, if you look at the photo, there's only one pair of snowmobile tracks. And it looks like that was the snowmobile coming back. And there's also footprints walking away. So either way, that brings us to a pretty big contradiction. I admit this photograph proves something. It proves that the snowmobile was used on the night of the murder.
You finally accepted the inevitable, it seems. Miles Edgeworth.
However, if what the witness says is true, then why is there only one set of tracks?
What do you mean?
Iris left Hazakura Temple, threw the weapon into the river, and then returned. If this was the case, then naturally there should be 2 sets of tracks in the snow. Those from heading out to the bridge, and those from coming back.
Ah, you're right! You are forgetting one thing, Miles Edgeworth. And it's that I hate you. On the night of the murder, it was snowing. The tracks leading to the bridge were erased by the snowfall. This removes your precious contradiction now, doesn't it?
I see. While she was at the river, the snow stopped, leaving just the return tracks in the snow.
What do you have to say now, Miles Edgeworth?
Is there a flaw in her theory? This idea that the snowfall covered one set of tracks,
Yeah, Contradiction City, baby.
The tracks to the river were covered by snow. What a nice theory. However, Ms. Von Karma, that is impossible.
Would you care to explain why there is a rude index finger currently pointed in my general direction? I can point a finger at you too, Miles Edgeverse, but it would not be a very polite gesture to make in an open court.
No need. The evidence will do all of the talking for me. On the night of the murder, the killer went to and returned from Dusky Bridge in order to dispose of the murder weapon. The outgoing tracks were erased by snow, or so claims Ms. Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth, present your evidence to the contrary, eh? Evidence that the outgoing tracks were not covered by snow.
And there is that one boring piece of evidence. Snow from 7 to 10:50, and lightning from 10 to 11. So what that tells us is that it was snowing the whole time.
Or, well, it stopped snowing shortly before the murder. So you should be able to see both sets of tracks. Were there any?
Shit, that's not the present button.
Witness, please tell us again what time it was when you witnessed the crime.
Like I said, it was around 11.
Of course, this means that the weapon was thrown away after that time, correct? On that note, please take a look at this data. It is the weather report for Eagle Mountain on the night of the murder. The weather report. Snow started to fall at 7 p.m., but it stopped at around 10:50. Therefore, when the sister witnessed the crime at 11 p.m., the snow had already stopped falling. It is impossible for any tracks made after that time to have been covered up. Ah! Very well, then. It looks like Miss Von Karma's claim has been snowed in. I don't have a rim shot sound effect, so I had to tap my keyboard.
It's too soon to be closing this trial due to snow. Miles Edgeverse, how pathetic of you to rely on the weather of all things.
What the fuck does that mean?
Answer me this, then. When is a weather report ever correct?
No, you've got it all wrong. This isn't a forecast. This is actual data.
Yeah! Forecast data, all weather reports have some inaccuracies. It may have still been snowing in the vicinity well past 11 p.m.
It's true. We cannot be totally sure, eh? What? How did she pull that off? It had stopped snowing at Hazakura Temple when the murder took place. You need to provide conclusive evidence of this. I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Very well, I too cannot allow any doubt to remain concerning this testimony.
Ha! You can't back down, can you? Such a perfectionist, Miles Edgeverse.
Very well then, Mr. Edgeworth. Where's your evidence that it had already stopped snowing when the victim was killed?
Let's see, I don't remember her body having any snow on top of it. Where's a photo of that? That's not the right photo. Oh, look! No snow on top of her.
Ultimately, it all comes down to one point. That being, whether or not it was snowing in that courtyard when the victim was stabbed.
That's right, but proving that is
incredibly easy. Thank you for completing my sentence for me, Francisca. If we want to know whether it was snowing or not, this photo will tell us everything. Of course, I am referring to the photo of the crime scene. As you can see, everything is covered with snow, with just one exception.
And that is...
The victim herself, Miss Elise Dunham. Why is there no snow on top of her? The answer is simple. It had stopped snowing when she was killed, that's why. In other words, if the killer really did go to the Eagle River to dispose of the murder weapon, then in this photograph there should be 2 sets of tracks.
Just, what are you... Just what are you suggesting, Miles Edgeworth?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure myself, but this is simply what all of the facts point to. That night, someone used the snowmobile to leave Hazakura Temple. From the tracks left, it can be understood that they were heading for Dusky Bridge. At that time, it was still snowing.
Of course it was, because those tracks were erased by the snow.
Then, when this person returned to Hazakura Temple, the snow had stopped. Thus, the return tracks remained.
Can I say something? This all sounds a bit fishy to me. That does, sister. There is only one key for the snowmobile. Furthermore, on the night in question, we know that the defendant had it.
Oh, fuck yes, hot dogs. Swag meal, Gummy made it.
The key was found in her room after the murder. Which can only mean that night, Iris used the snowmobile to go to the inner temple.
But Iris said that she never went there. I should probably press on this point some more when I get the chance.
The snowmobile can't cross the suspension bridge, so she must have left it on the Hazakura side of the bridge and crossed on foot.
Oh my god, was it really Joel himself?
No way!
Turns out it was Billy Joel blasting Billy Joel that loud. Like he was performing, or he was just like sitting outside somewhere with a boombox, playing his own music.
That sounds right.
No, he's performing. Okay, that's better.
But what's odd is, when I left Iris and returned to Hazakura Temple, I didn't see anything near Dusky Bridge.
Why is her symbol a W? I don't get it. Does it just stand for woman? I really don't understand. Oh, witness. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, W for woman.
Yeah, you must have just failed to see it, sister. Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple...
The 2 genders, man and witness.
It was there, by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean. I know what I saw. It was covered in snow, too.
No, the M stands for murderer. What does this all mean? Well, in the 3rd gender, V, which stands for my VIP. So then, what was the snowmobile used for? It wasn't taken by the defendant when she went to the inner temple. If it had been, then the witness couldn't possibly have seen it by the gate. Furthermore, it wasn't used by the killer to dispose of the murder weapon. If that was the case, there should be 2 sets of tracks in this photo. All we know is this. After it stopped snowing, someone used the snowmobile to return to Hazakura Temple. I never thought a simple snowmobile could cause so much trouble. I think we've learned all we can from this witness.
Yes. I have nothing more to add. I've told you everything that I know.
But then, that still leaves us with the same problem. If only there was someone, a witness who could testify to having seen the snowmobile. A witness, huh? Was there no one out walking, perhaps, near Dusky Bridge on that night?
I don't think that's likely. It was cold enough to freeze your ears off. Only an idiot would go out wandering in that. Unless they had something really important to do. Like try and mac on my fellow nun, Sister Iris.
That's a shame. Hold on. Something's coming to me. An idiot may well have gone wandering out on that subarctic night. Larry actually has a point in this case because he did actually see something very important. But unfortunately, it's going to take us forever to get there. Your Honor, actually, there just might be one individual who may be of help to us. Really?
You know of someone who might have seen the snowmobile on the night of the murder?
I don't know for sure if he saw it or not, but there are 2 things about him that do come to mind. Which are, first, that he saw something incredible on the night of the murder.
And the second being? Is it that he's an idiot? Oh, I hope it's that he's an idiot.
This individual that I am thinking of went wandering outside on that cold night. In other words, he is our kind of idiot. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this idiot you're talking about? Okay, well, at least he's gonna be on the stand with Francisco whipping him like every other sentence, probably. This guy must be a product of Jean-Luc Deladuc's Guide to Obnoxious French Painting. What the fuck? This is Larry Butts, a disciple of the victim, Elise Donim. Her student? Interesting. And why was he wandering about outside on the night of the murder? That's because he's an idiot, Your Honor. I could tell them all about his designs for Iris, but it may cost us his credibility as a witness, before I even call him. He is, after all, an artist. He was, perhaps, searching for something in the snowy scenery that would move him. Although I cannot guarantee that this is the reason.
And so, this unfortunate, unreliable-looking man, what exactly was it that he saw?
I intend to extract that from him, right here in this courtroom. Summon this youth as a witness immediately.
I have no choice, do I?
I believe he's in the gallery for this trial. It will not take long to summon him. Very well. Larry, you may have escaped me yesterday, but today I'm going to get everything out of you. The court will now adjourn for a 20-minute break. Miss Von Karma, please see to preparing the next witness.
Understood, Your Honor.
Good. Well then, court is now in recess. Alright, so we are also going to take a brief recess. Just for like 5 minutes or so. This is probably the halfway point of the stream, depending on... Well, actually, not depending on how long Larry's testimony is. It's just because the next part is super long, and I want to start with that on Friday instead of trying to plow through it tonight. Alright, so. I will be right back.
Svari. Svari.
Okay, I'm back. I have a weird question. To the Lupin heads in my chat. Did like the 3D animated movie come out yet? The really sexy animation and art style looking one where like David Lynch is the bad guy. It did? How come I haven't seen it like accessible anywhere? Because I was really interested in it and I can't find like I want to watch it, but like where is it? It did, but not in theaters. It's been out for a while, but the animation is sexy. Okay, I'd love to watch it sometime. I've watched Zero Lupin, but it's like been on the periphery of like media I know I would love. I just haven't gotten into it yet. Anyway. I will absorb you into it. It's happening. Honestly, Kara, that's a situation with like so much of the media I associate with you. It's stuff that's been, I guess, like, I don't have a better way of saying that, but just like on the list of media I know I would love but just haven't jumped into yet, like Mob Psycho and Trigun and Hellsing and like all that all that family of cool sexy media for fun people. I'll get into it eventually. That was me with Leighton. Oh, I'm so glad you joined us. Alright. Now, tragically, let's deal with this clown. Not even the look at me tragic clown.
Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not really sure what to say.
Iris, we only have 20 minutes. There are two things which I need to ask you before we reconvene.
Alright, I'll help you any way I can.
I grabbed Desmond Sycamore by the neck like a rubber duck and violently squeak him. Yeah, at least look at me is gay. Larry is just Larry. First, about that night. You really didn't go to the Inner Temple, correct? The last witness claims to have met and talked with you in the training hall. Either you or Sister Bikini is lying.
Mr. Edgeworth, it is just as I said yesterday. Until the incident occurred, I was in my own room in Hazakura Temple.
Very well. The second thing, then. That night, the temple snowmobile was used in between the time Sister Bikini returned to the main hall and when she bore witness to the murder. Sometime between 10:30 and 11 p.m. that night. Were you the one who used the snowmobile?
There is only one key for the snowmobile. The only person who could have used it was me.
So it was you. But why? What made you go out to Dusky Bridge?
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth.
Holy shit, Iris! God, Nick is gonna have such a time with all these quintuple psycho-luck people next investigation. Iris.
I can't tell you about that yet.
Yet?
Not until her safety is confirmed.
Her?
The safety of the Acolyte.
The Acolyte, huh? She must be talking about Maya. Iris, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you kill Elise Donim?
No matter who or what may come, I could never take a life.
As I thought, no psycholocks. Very well. It is my job to get to the truth. You'll discover this for yourself soon enough. Just after this experience, it's just like, well, I guess I can't lie to Phoenix ever again. It's like, okay, I guess I have to confess to him now. I love that he never realizes it's not Psycholox. Well, like, no one's there to correct him. Like, the only people that would know were Nick, Maya, and Pearl, and none of them are present at the moment. Court will now reconvene. Miss Von Karma, where's the witness?
During the break, a man was detained for suspicious behavior in the gallery.
Suspicious behavior?
He was sketching something very intensely.
Dare I ask what the witness was sketching when he was detained?
He drew a terrifying woman armed with a demonic face and a vicious whip.
I can only presume that his intention was to capture your...
Anyway, it's time to drag this pathetic excuse for an artist before the court. It bore no resemblance to me whatsoever, you all saw it. Larissa Donim, I hope you're ready. Get in here.
It would seem that whip is going to see plenty more use today. Oh, thank God. Whip him good, Francisca. It's no less than he deserves. Ouch!
Your sketch is in contempt of this court.
Hey! I was just artistically rendering. Ouch!
You tried to run away from the bailiff who was trying to hand you your subpoena, correct?
Look! I'm nothing but a fledgling artist treating out in the mountains. I'm only down here in the city because I ran out of green paint. Well, to use the technical term for the color, Viridian. Larry? And this isn't an art store, now is it? I know! I graduated junior high, okay? I know this ain't a fucking Michael's. You people seem a lot happier than the people that work at Michael's. Look, art is all about working in the fields, isn't it? Working in the fields. I presume he wanted to say field work, I hope. That's it! Thanks, buddy! It's kind of sad that I was able to understand his mangled train wreck of a sentence. I also worked at Michael's, and I can confirm as well. Handshake in our misery. I just happened to stop in here and found a wonderful new model. So see? I've got nothing to do with this trial. At all. I expect all of your faces to be red when you realize this mistake. Bright red. Or, to use the technical term, crimson lake. Ouch! Ouch! Stop! Ow, you're hurting me!
Stop your pathetic babbling and testify like a man.
Refrain from whipping me, Miss Von Karma. Cross-whipping is as bad as cross-checking. Witness, that was all your fault. Testify now. This is too much for me. What I saw. I was at that lodge out in the mountains, looking up at the stars that night. I walked to the bridge a number of times, but I didn't see a snowmobile. I didn't see anyone at the bridge that night either. The girl I was waiting for didn't show up. My teacher died on me. I'm all alone now. Aren't I, Angie? Witness, please refrain from talking directly to the lawyers during your testimony. Just a nobody. Nothing but a small, worthless man, aren't I? Nobody care me. I'm just small potatoes. Why wasn't I asked for my name and occupation, or anything else? Mr. Edgeworth, this man seems to have quite a severe inferiority complex. He's recently been the cause of numerous incidents. I think he's finally realized for himself just how much of a nuisance he has been to other people. Yeah! Yeah, that's right! I'm behind everything, every case. Everything in this world is a part of my game, said Larry Butts. Watch out, okay? Just touching me will make you eternally unhappy. Why do you think I can't hold down a girlfriend, huh? Well then, let us proceed with the cross-examination. With no touching, thank you. We can delve into other details at a later time. Okay, this one is easy peasy. Larry was the main villain of Ace Attorney all along. Not just this one, the whole series. Yeah, because he gave, like, the cheese touch of, like, being a murderer to every other villain in this series. Okay, he's like, I didn't see anyone else. Like, dude, you literally saw Nick fall off a bridge. Larry Butts. Well, I can understand why you might want to throw your old life away. You're pretty pathetic, and you cause all sorts of trouble. I'm sorry! But, having realized just how much of a nuisance you have been, that could be considered a step in the right direction. Edgy, are you trying to console me? It certainly doesn't sound that way to me. However, I cannot forgive you for simply turning away from the incidents you create. You're totally pinning this on me! Now then, let us talk about the night of the murder. Sister Bikini, after seeing the murder take place, asked Phoenix Wright to report it. Thus, he headed for the public phone by the bridge. There, he happened across a certain nefarious individual. You, Larry Butts! That's right. Me, in the flesh. Listen carefully, witness. It doesn't matter if you change your name. So long as you remain pretty pathetic, you will continue to cause these incidents. That reality will not change. But what do you want me to do, then? Larry, what you need to change is your inner self. But for now, what you saw that night, testifying truthfully about this one issue, is all I need from you. Edgy? Pauses to admire the floating Phoenix portrait next to him. Oh, he's so cute in that. Anyway. Edgy, I think I finally woke it up! Well, I guess I could still be sleeping. But anyway, I'll do it! I'll testify! Well, I'm not sure this will go especially well. I'll ask again then, witness. What did you see on the night of the murder? I went to the shack at around 9, so it would have been about 10:30 p.m. I was lying under my bedding when a white flash almost blinded me. I looked out the window, and Dusky Bridge was on fire. There was still some thunder, but I went right away to check it out. That's when I ran into Nick. You certainly saw quite a lot, didn't you?
So, what happened to the bridge after it caught on fire?
It was like me after a 3-day stint chasing a girl. It totally burnt out! Like, almost totally gone. I mean, trying to cross the burning remains is what caused Nick to fall.
What did you say?
Oh, don't worry, it's nothing life-threatening. He's just caught a cold. Oh, Francisca, you were worried about him. Francisca, you were worried about Phoenix Wright, weren't you? Aw.
I never know with that man if he should be called lucky or unlucky.
And now, Mr. Edworth, please commence your cross-examination. Okay, here's the part with the thunder. Yeah. You said right away, but exactly how long after the strike was that? The lightning fell, and then the bridge caught on fire,
maybe around 5 minutes? I mean, I suddenly thought, gotta go check this out! How far is this small shack you are in from the bridge? Hold on. Well, it had pretty much stopped snowing. I guess about a 5-minute walk. And how did Dusky Bridge look when you got there? Like I had recovered a piece of my childhood. I mean, not even the bonfires kids make during school camping trips can compare. Well, should I press him for a little more info? Why didn't you call anyone? Larry, let me ask you one thing. What is it, Edgy? What's with the serious face? Why so serious, Edgeworth? Why didn't you call anyone? Huh? What do you mean? Normally, when faced with a towering inferno, one would try and tell someone. There is a public phone right by Dusky Bridge, correct? Well, of course I thought of doing that. So then, let's hear why you didn't. Yeah, okay. Reason. My reason. It isn't that I didn't try to tell anyone, I just didn't have time to, okay? I arrived at the bridge, and Nick showed up less than a minute later. Oh, but what about the weather report, huh? Huh? Around 30 minutes passed between the fire starting and going out. What were you doing for 25 minutes, huh? Your very existence being a contradiction, I'm not sure if you can guess this or not. What the fuck? You bringing his parents into this now, too? What the hey, Edgy? You make me sound like some sort of alien. But your testimony is conclusively contradictory. The problem here is time. I've never been the best timekeeper, you know. 3 minutes after Billy leaves on foot, you follow him on your bicycle. How long does it take for you to catch up with him? Terrible at those. This is much more simple. You saw the lightning strike Dusky Bridge, and immediately went to see what had happened. Is that correct? Yeah! Well, I wasted about 5 minutes first, but more or less. I have the weather data from the night of the murder here. According to this, the lightning fell at 10:45 p.m. You say it takes less than 5 minutes from the shack to Dusky Bridge, meaning you probably got there at around 11 p.m. That all sounds about right, I guess. And then Nick showed up and did his falling act. That is impossible. What do you mean? 11 p.m. is when the murder occurred in Hazakura Temple. Thus, Wright was still there, in the courtyard. There is no way that Larry could have encountered him at Dusky Bridge at that time. Excuse me, I have an objection! You do? Edgy, how many times do I have to say this? I'm not Larry! I'm Laurie's Student. It has not been proven that the murder occurred at 11 p.m. The sister only said around 11. In which case, it should have been earlier than that. It could have been earlier than that. Watch your footing there, Miss Francisca von Karma. The slope ahead is slippery. For there is still no way that Wright could have been at Dusky Bridge at 11 p.m. And why not? It is clearly written here in the weather data report. It took around 30 minutes for the bridge to burn out. Therefore, the bridge must have been burning until at least 11:15 p.m. Which means, what exactly? Wright did not see the bridge while it was being consumed by the flames that night. In fact, he did not arrive on the scene until after the flames had died down. Larry? You arrived at the bridge at 11 p.m., but Wright did not make it there until at least 11:15. I suggest you to stop hiding things and just tell us the whole truth. Now then, what happened during those missing 15 minutes? I feel like I just got brutally woken up by toilet splashback. I guess I was still sleeping after all! Pinch me!
What up?
So there was a missing 15 minutes prior to meeting Phoenix Wright. I hardly see that as much of a problem.
Yeah, not much of a problem at all.
Really? The bridge is burning before your eyes, and there is a phone right next to it. Why then did you not report the accident?
Yes, witness, why didn't you? Were you there simply to watch the bridge burn?
And therein lies the problem. For even after the bridge had burnt out, he was still there. Staring into space. This witness didn't even attempt to fulfill his civic duty. That's what it sounds like. Ah, but this is Larry we are talking about, and even he is incapable of being so stupid.
Which means there has to be a reason for his inaction.
Edgy? I think it's about time I got serious with you, dude. And just as I thought, you've been playing with us all this time. Listen, I'm going to tell you everything. Are you sure you want to hear it all?
Yes.
I may really say it this time, Edgy. Yeah! Then say it!
Very well. I have a terribly bad feeling about this, however. Let's have the witness finally give us the whole truth. Now, for this 15-minute gap, what were you doing, witness?
Alright, the missing 15 minutes.
I'm a tonym. I'm an artist. What do you think I was doing? Sketching in front of the bridge. I was whipped up into a frenzy of art. The shock and awe that I was feeling, I transferred it all directly onto the page. Before I realized it, the flames had gone out, and then he came running up. I suppose artists can be strange folk. That's right! I'm willing to sacrifice everything in order to draw the perfect sketch.
Including the truth, from the sound of it.
Mr. Edgeworth, has this removed the last of your doubts?
Not at all, Your Honor. One very large doubt still remains.
And what would that be?
This is a surprisingly believable story, especially considering the source.
So why did he think he needed to hide it from us until now? I intend to drag the reason out of him. You'll regret this, Edgy.
Okay, I'm an artist. Okay, so what were you sketching, bro?
Sketching? The burning bridge. The burning bridge and everything that came with it.
What came with it?
You want to hear this from my lips, do you, Edgy? You'll regret this! That sketch of mine is...
Enough! Just take such ridiculous sketch of yours out already, witness!
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean.
That does indeed appear... Shit.
That does indeed be the fastest solution. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Edgeworth.
What should I do? I've got a terrible feeling that the instant this sketch is revealed, the entire world may be changed by what it is depicted there.
Then we have to look at it.
Larry, I wonder if you could show us your sketch. Please?
Well. Even I couldn't imagine it'd turn out like this.
Imagined what?
That Larice Dunim's debut would take place here, today, like this. Ouch!
Show it, now!
Okay, but steel yourselves. This is the world of Larice Dunim.
Well, so this is Dusky Bridge, correct? Quite a large bridge, isn't it? Your response, Miss Von Carver? Yes, well, it's a better drawing than I expected.
Isn't it? Isn't it? I struggled to reproduce those flames, I really did!
Yes, I'm sure you did.
This is going to get ugly. No one has the courage to bring it up, it seems. This mysterious flying object. Larry?
What?
The burning bridge is fine. But what is that unfortunate-looking figure?
Ah! You spotted that? I thought you might.
However much I might want to ignore it, I can't. It's Iris, of course! Iris! I wish she'd take better care of herself. We have to plan on our future, you know. What would have happened to her if she'd injured herself flying like that? Larry, please. Answer this next question honestly. Okay. Are you really claiming to have seen this? Are you claiming to have seen the silhouette of the defendant flying over a bridge that was engulfed in flames? Yep, that's what I saw. That's why I drew it! I'm an artist! A real artist! Are you high? That's my favorite part of this whole portion is the "Are you high?" The girl, I mean, she's really high up in this picture. What was that for?
This is all a bad dream. I was hitting you on the cheek to test that theory.
Please whip your own cheek from now on if you wish to test your wild theories. Anyway, no court of law will ever acknowledge that people can fly.
Actually, there is some precedent for this. I'm referring to the worst case I've ever had the misfortune to prosecute for. I believe the colloquial name for it is turnabout beak top. But yeah, she's talking about that case. Haha.
She was flying up pretty high, my sweet Iris. Big tops! Yeah, that's like one of my favorite comics for Ace Attorney is like Gumshoe talking to Edgeworth after he's come back for this trial. Essentially, he's like, "Oh, yeah, Mr. Edgeworth, you missed a lot of cases while you were gone. Like about the one with the big top." And Edgeworth is just like, "Big tops!" Alright, anyway. Back to Larry, I guess. She was about 30 feet above the bridge, at least. It was really something to see. This has to be some kind of mistake. Mr. Edgeworth, please bring the witness back down to earth and administer a drug test if you deem necessary. What? Me? This witness is your friend, is he not?
Accessory to foolishness, Miles Edgeworth.
Let us get back to the cross-examination. By force, if necessary. Mr. Edgeworth, I expect you to expose the obvious contradiction here. Yes, Your Honor. Looks like I've got another reason to remember this moron. Well, what'd you think of my debut piece? Get that thing away from me! Larry's sketch. A horrible sketch of what he saw the night of the crime. Okay, but did you have to say horrible? It's just like Larry's shitty art. Now, hurry up and cross-examine him, and the sooner we can get him out of here. Okay, I'm an artist. Sketching. I saw Iris flying! Her white hood fluttering! But that's not present in this shitty drawing. Okay, I guess maybe that could be. But we know she wasn't wearing it! How does everyone think Iris was wearing a hood that night? Larry, what did you really see that night? Or not that I particularly care. In your position, that's just being irresponsible. I drew exactly what I saw. I'll give you a whole dollar that it's the truth. If that is truly the case, then there is one thing that we can say for certain. What might that be? That the person who flew over the bridge could not have been the defendant, Iris. What? What do you mean? I don't understand.
What? A foolhardy folly of a foolish statement by an equally foolishly foolhardy fool. How exactly can you make this claim?
Tell us, Larry. According to this picture, the individual whom you say you saw was wearing a hood, correct? Of course she was. That rundown shack is quite away from the bridge. The hood is what told me that this floating angel was my Iris. That hood is my darling Iris, and Iris is my darling hood. Ah!
Seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench.
Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps suggest it was Wright who took flight? I mean, in a way, he did. But he's in the hospital for that now. What are you talking about? I think you understand what I mean just fine. Why? Why did Nick have Iris's hood? What? Edgy! What's going on with Iris and Nick? Why you, Nick? You dog! I do believe that this unbelievably mysterious sketch is destined to disappear, discredited, and discarded. Straight into the garbage.
What is it now, witness?
It feels like I've been waiting 25 years for this very day to come. You haven't come for 25 years? Edgy, today is the day I get to completely stupefy you. What? What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to have to do this, but I have some definitive evidence. Definitive.
Evidence?
Iris did indeed come flying over the burning bridge, and I, Laurie Stoneham, shall prove it. I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once again. Now tell us anything you know concerning the defendant as depicted in this sketch, and show us your evidence that this nightmare was actually a reality. Okay, I hope you're ready, Edgy, because I'm going to feed you a whopping serving of pain! You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me. Proof that Iris flew. When I reached Husky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led to me finding a beautiful crystal sphere, half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. Yes, they could. Crystal sphere? This one. Pretty, isn't it? But finders keepers!
That sphere. Where did you find it?
Let me see. Around here, somewhere? Looks about right. and it was half buried in the snow. Bro, that has blood on it! It had pretty much stopped snowing by then, but there was still some falling as I walked to the bridge. The court accepts this crystal sphere. It's mine, okay? I want it back afterward. There's something on it.
A question mark?
Oh my! It's blood! I know because I licked it. What? Blood? Alright, crystal sphere. Found half covered in snow near Dusky Bridge the night of the crime. Has blood on it. Yay, blood! You ready, Edgy? By tomorrow morning, you'll be calling me Master Larry. Yeah, I like the sound of that. No one's gonna push me around anymore. Didn't you want to be called Larry Stoneham only a few minutes ago? Okay, well, gee, who else do we know that has a giant crystal sphere associated with them? Oh geez, it's the victim! Whoops! Okay. No one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. I guess they could have. Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Stoneham, the mentor to a stupid idiot.
Is the victim?
I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey! That's my photograph! Give it back! Ouch!
A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch.
That's not just like it, though. That's a different shape, and a different color, and a different cut. They look nothing alike! In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Ah! The crystal sphere! It's gone! What? 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 Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped, or flew across the bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim, Miss Elise Stoneham?
A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. People cannot fly. Thus, it is rejected.
You can't do that! I saw it with my own 2 eyes!
And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring.
You honestly believe that?
Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well. Miles Edgeverse. Elise Stoneham was in her room on the night of the murder.
It's clearly purple. Not red, though there is some red on it.
There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, this sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all.
Miss Franziska von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case?
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder.
After the murder?
There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? No way! I really shouldn't have watched You Might Be the Killer that night. All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case.
She makes a valid point. There is no evidence that Elise Shonin left Hazakura Temple that night. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth? I want your final opinion on the disposition of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you called will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time.
Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth.
Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Yes, I can! Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, that's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's what that man would do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case.
You will do what? That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered.
That should come as no surprise. Because right now, I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped before the murder. I'm gonna present the crime photo itself because we found her staff. Or Gumshoe found her staff, and it was missing the sphere. There's a lot to unpack in that I am Phoenix Wright line, like... Edgy, bro, you fact kidding? This crystal sphere, it was half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, then it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly.
Snowing?
On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body. Ah! Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder.
What?
On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge, and there something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose. What? What could that have been? This sphere. There is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge.
The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness.
Just who is the fool? And which part is so foolish, Ms. Von Karma?
Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard.
That's not exactly true now, is it? To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body.
That's the same thing!
No, it isn't. You said it yourself.
very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed.
If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding.
You're forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeverse. At least O'Neem's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way?
I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of the events is also perfectly plausible.
Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple. Gee, is it the only method of transportation in this entire setting? The snowmobile photo? I think so.
On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could also have been used to carry a body.
This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeverse. You dug yourself into your own grave.
What do you mean?
The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moves the body. Doesn't it put the final nail in your coffin?
You're too late, Francisca von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation.
But...
Where was the victim, Elise O'Nim, really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean?
Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it.
This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Edgy! Thank you.
That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. I hiss and growl at you like a little kitty cat because you have raised such ire in me, Miles Edgeverse. Hiss!
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought. Francisca von Karma, you make a wonderful partner.
Excuse me?
There was one reason, and one reason alone for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this is all about? You could have just told me from the very beginning. She's so repressed, I'm surprised she didn't break out in tears though. She's like,
what? My little brother saying something nice about me? What the fuck? Miles Edgeverse, I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel.
A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. But you'll get another chance in the spin-off game, don't worry, Franny.
This is all your fault! Such a terrible witness! You are an affront to the entire legal system! I demand satisfaction!
Kill him, Franny!
He's fucking dead!
I cannot believe the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answer for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution. And with this, the rest is up to you, right? Court is now adjourned. that's where we're gonna leave for tonight, because the following investigation portion, we'll be back to Phoenix's point of view, minor spoiler I guess, but it's very long, and I don't want to try and plow through it tonight. So, that's the wrong screen. I thank you for coming by tonight. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I admittedly, I even had fun voicing Larry, because he's such a goof. He's such like a goofball feels a bit too light for him, but like he's so stupid. It's fun to voice act him because of how stupid he is. All right. I will see you all on a Friday night, and yeah, that's it. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again for coming.